Mic check 1 2 1 2.
What's happening?
Man, I sound like Joe Budden. Damn it, man. Welcome to my Joe Budden podcast. Hey, what's up? This is the Creative Masterminds Podcast.
What up, creators? What's happening?
What's up? This is the 10th episode. We are very happy to have you guys here, tuned in with us so we can give you some game.
Believe that.
And, help you guys become better creators each and every day. You already know our format. We talk first about our week in a review, and then we hop into our topic. Our topic for today is going to be focused on planting seeds and harvesting them.
Straight up.
Yeah. And so let's go ahead and get into it. I always defer to Cass about his week review, so I can have time to come up with my stuff. Cass, go ahead. Tell everybody about your week.
Rundown.
What went down.
Rundown from the week. Just did some creating. First took care of home, the family, the kiddos.
Have to.
And whatnot. And from there, just creating, and that was pretty much the majority of with my free time is what I did, practicing some DJing, creating, brainstorming about different ideas and stuff. So that was pretty much it. Nothing too extraordinary or crazy. Still doing stuff with the boxing bell, branding that on IG, Instagram, and Facebook pretty much.
Yeah, I see you putting that work in on that boxing bell and everything.
Appreciate
it,
man.
Yeah. Made me feel like such a slacker.
Nah.
I'd be like MIA on Instagram because I'd be like in my own world. I need to be better at balancing those two things, like making sure that I put out content, but also be in my own world where I can curate content. So that's my thing. But yeah, much respect on that. For me, my week, similar to yours, I didn't really do too much. I worked on like stuff like dealing with photography. Like I said, like in the last episode, I had a photo shoot that I did. And so right now I'm editing the photos and getting it out to the people. Also, I got some business this week with photography, like doing a photo shoot tomorrow. I'm not making the show. So I'm doing a photo shoot, 2 of them actually, tomorrow. And that's pretty cool. And I also got hired to shoot a event in December. So business is somewhat booming, not super booming, but I'm getting business and I'm thankful.
Flex on him real quick, man. He's dope with the camera. Let him know. For
sure. And I thank God, the Most High, for all the opportunities that's coming to me.
Amen.
And I really do appreciate it, for sure. Other things I did create as well. Been making beats. I've been trying to make sure that I make a beat each and every day so I can get better at my piano skills. I'm gonna start to get better. I'm gonna start to try to do more guitar work as well. But right now I'm really focused on becoming a full-fledged musician.
Yeah.
I was inspired earlier this week from watching the Quincy Jones documentary that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
If you have not checked that out, as a creator in general, you need to check it out. It's very inspirational because if you watch the documentary, you'll see that Quincy Jones is a creator in general. Like he does music, okay. He also does scoring for movies. He also does TV production. He produced the African American Museum opening ceremony thing or whatever, where they videotaped that and showed it, and it looked spectacular. Like, this guy is a hardcore creator, and I just like the way he moves, and I learned a lot from it. And I really learned that you have to really work on your craft. You have to be a perfectionist. You have to really go knee deep in with your passion and to be good at it. And so just watching that documentary got me really inspired. So that made me focus on becoming a better musician. So I'm working on music each and every day now.
He did the Wiz, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Because this dude, he's been in the game for 80 years now, I would say. No, my bad. That's crazy because he's 80s now. But 70 plus years because he started in 1930-ish or was it 1930?
30 to 40s, I think.
Yeah, he was in the, basically he started real young, at least in his teens, like 14-ish. I think 14 is when he met Ray Charles, which is just crazy.
Yeah. He
met Ray Charles, all these other dope-ass artists, Dizzy Gillespie, I think that's his name.
Right, yeah.
Just a bunch of dope artists, Michael Jackson.
Frank Sinatra.
The fact that he was like the dude who was handling the band, it's just crazy. This guy is phenomenal and very inspirational. So check that documentary out. I also checked out Matrix. That got me inspired as well to not be as mentally enslaved as I've been so far, which I'm saying that in a way where like, a lot of times we take on boundaries that's been given to us like in music and just in different things in life. And so a lot of times we don't realize that these boundaries that people put on us restrict us from becoming like our full-fledged self or creating the best work possible. And so watching The Matrix got me super inspired. So yeah, I've been like inspired, creating more and more and trying to become a better creator. And so that's really, in summary, my week. I also had like some unfortunate news. My granny was in the hospital. So if you guys can put some prayers up in the air for her to get better. But that's my love, that's my rock, and she's the one who believed in me and told me that I was special and kept me motivated and keeps me motivated. And so if you guys can do that, that'd be really dope. But all in all, it's still been a good week. She's getting better. So in summary, things are good. I guess let's go ahead and hop into the subject. We hopping into the subject earlier than usual, but it is what it is. So the subject is planting seeds and harvesting them. It's like, where do I even start with this concept? Like, for me, it didn't really resonate, like the whole planting seeds and harvesting. It didn't really resonate to me until I actually had the garden of my own. And you really see that, like, you really see life principles work whenever you have a garden. Like, you see that you can plant as many seeds as possible. Some will sprout, some will not. Some will, get to a good place, and then they end up dying because of a disease. I think a couple of my basil plant that started from seed, they died from downing. I think that's a disease.
Yeah.
But even all right, some die from diseases, and then some just keep going. But even when they grow, you have to make sure you do things like to maintain them, like prune them, so they can grow to their full potential. And so it's like, the whole concept of planting seeds and harvesting them like really came to life when I had a garden. And I think it's a valuable principle that people underestimate and don't understand that this is a life principle that can be applied to many different things.
Yeah,
this can be applied. I can give an example with investing, money wise. I can give an example with friendships. I can give an example with just many different examples about the whole concept of planting your seeds and harvesting them.
Yeah.
I guess I can give one example for sure, which is like financially. That's my thing. I love to buy stocks. I love to be financially focused on the future.
Yeah.
Like, I would say for sure that seeds that I planted 10 years ago. I started to invest in stocks like 10 years ago, where I invested in Intel and other different companies. And like me investing way back then when people weren't really investing at my age, because I was like a young kid in college investing my fast for money.
Yeah.
Me starting doing that like 10 years ago allowed me to be in the position that I am in today, which is no job, being able to work on my craft 24/7.
That's awesome. Man.
Like, also with friendships, like me getting out the house and networking more, like last year, allowing me to meet more people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who do things that are similar to me, like fashion and also music and stuff like that. Like me paying to go see Illmind to hear my beats. That's where we linked up. Now we got the Creative Masterminds Podcast. Now you guys are being, motivated and inspired, or hopefully we are motivating you and inspiring you to become better.
Yeah.
Now we're at this point. It's just like, once you kind of think about it, it really makes me like very hopeful, just very happy the fact that you can just plant little seeds here and there, and these seeds, you will never know how they will come. You'll never know how the harvest will come and what fruits will yield from what you plant. And so I just said a mouthful. Cass, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, man. That's a lot of good info right there.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I was just rattling like, yeah, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You had to get it out, man. Mm-hmm. So that's what's up. But when talking about seed time and harvesting, it takes me to this quote. It's don't judge your day on the harvest that you reap, but on the seeds that you plant.
Exactly.
And I think that's by Robert Stevenson. And that's like a really good quote, like, about the actions that you take. You know what I'm saying? And it really hits home with like my family, my kids and all that, and with time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something tangible as far as like in your hand or money or something like that. But it can be, of course, it's across the board, I believe. But time, that's like a really sowing and reaping. That's like a really good spot that I'm at right now with that, and relating to that is, the time that I spend with my kids and the seeds that I plant into their heads about like hard work, being being consistent, obeying, listening, and being mindful of the decisions that you make with them. You know what I'm saying? So also with the investing, that's another for sure. You hit on that right on the head. And so, I mean, that's just across the board, and spiritually as well. You know what I'm saying? The time that you spend with the Lord or with, the universe or whatever, however you look at it, whether it be meditating, praying, and spending that time to soak in and get outside of your day-to-day and taking the time for yourself to replenish. And, that's just another way to relate sowing and reaping, and that's where I'm at with it. The examples for myself.
Man,
so.
I love the fact that you brought up time, because I don't think we're mindful enough about the time or what we do with our time. The fact that a lot of time, I believe we waste time. I can say that for sure with myself, like during my period of like figuring out what I wanted to do in my life after leaving my job.
Yeah.
Like I spent a lot of time. It maybe seem as wasteful, but at some parts I can't see like the good in it. But there was a lot of times where I wasn't focused throughout my day, where I was like wasting hours, playing a video game for 3 or 4 hours a day. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a big chunk of time where I'm not planting seeds that can harvest. And the thing is, the more conscious you are, and the more you're able to focus in and be mindful of what you're doing throughout your day to day.
Right.
It'll be helpful to you to be able to be more effective in planting the right and the appropriate seeds that will yield you the right fruits that you want. Like for instance, I want to become a adult music producer. I want to become an adult music artist in general. So what I need to do to plant the proper seeds, I need to actually work on my craft each and every day. I can't take a day off. I got to become better and better, because it's not like tomorrow is promised. I know a lot of people assume that we have tomorrow, but it's not promised at all. That's a farce. You can end up getting bit by a spider at night, and then shit happens. I don't know, but things can happen really, really quick, and so you gotta be very mindful of the time that you spend and how you spend your time, and make sure that you're spending your time planting good seeds, proper seeds. Within yourself. Like for instance, I think a good example would be being mindful of how you start your day. Like me being mindful that, okay, let me go make sure I work out, exercise, and then let me not only do that, after the fact, let me read something that will help me spiritually. Let me read something from the 7 spiritual laws of success. Let me read something from Think and Grow Rich. Let me read something that will help benefit me, help mold my mind, or have my mind in the right state so I can take on the day. And so those are seed planting as well, so you can make sure that you can be as effective as possible whenever you want to me trying to actually achieve a goal.
Yeah, and improve. And that's like when the person that you want to be, that you see that down the line, that those seeds that you plant now and the things that you do now will dictate that person that you'll be in the future. That is to come.
That's fire. That's super fire. Yeah. I like the fact that you're talking about envision like your future self of what you want to be and who you want to be, whatever, and then kind of do some deductive reasoning and reverse engineer your way back to, all right, how can I plant the seeds currently now at this present moment, which is the realest thing ever. Now is what exists. It's what's in front of you, not the future. It's like I said in the previous podcast, it's imagination along with your past. But your future, your present is now, is right there in your face. And the thing is, you need to be mindful enough to, all right, look to the future of what you want to be, and then identify what seeds you need to plant today so you can have those fruits in the future that will yield you to be the person that you want to be in that future moment.
For sure. And whether you know it or not or think about it, you're planting seeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether they're ones that are not going to yield any harvest or not what you want, or the ones that will... Then there can be a negative harvest or a positive as well. It could be, the seeds that you plant, whether you realize it or not, or you plant them, you're gonna reap that harvest. You know what I'm saying?
But when you said that, it made me think about like being mindful of the people you like, the time you spend around people or who you're around. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're around a bunch of bums who are not doing anything with their lives, if you're not around people who are productive, you're if essentially just in terrible soil. You know what I'm saying? There's no chance for you, there's minimum chance for you to grow. I'm not gonna say there's no chance, but there's minimum chance for you to grow. It's minimum chance for you to be able to move forward in a productive way because you're not in the right environment. I guess we can take it back to the garden reference. Like certain seeds work better in certain environments, whatever. And if the seed is not in the right environment, that seed is up and it's not going to sprout. It's not going to take root. It's not going to grow. And so what you want to do, you want to make sure that you're in the right environment with your seeds and stuff like that. It sounds crazy.
To grow.
This is life, though.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're in the right environment with your seeds so you make sure those seeds are growing. Like, for instance, like if I'm I want to be a music producer. I want to do, rap and music. But if I'm hanging around people who
are in construction.
Construction or just playing basketball, which is cool to play basketball, but that's not the environment I need to be around because my music production seed's not going to take root and seed in this basketball environment. I need to be in an environment with other music producers, other music creators, stuff like that, to be able to grow into the person I want to be musically.
Yeah, because they say it's like the five people you're around the most. That's like
yourself.
That's the conditions too that surround you. You know what I'm saying? So you want to promote, you want to be in the conditions that promote growth and that will get you to where you want to be. And once you get there, that's not it. It's not over. Then you make some new goals and plant new. You should be planting seeds throughout the whole time. Some will get you, to a certain place or whatnot, but you want to keep planting seeds and try new things, try it out, and you'll be surprised of where you go and that growth that you have, especially if it's in the right conditions. You have the right conditions around you for that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure. Yeah, I think we kind of killed that one.
Yeah, we went in on it.
Yeah, for sure with the seeds, and so just in general. You just want to be mindful. I know I say this all the time about being self-aware, but it's the key to life. I think it's one of the main keys of life that you will understand yourself and that you understand the situation that you're in, the environment that you're in, and so you can be able to be as effective as possible in molding the future that you want. Because you're an architect if you don't believe it yourself. I mean, if you're not aware,
that made me think of the song. It's the key to life. Money, power,
happiness. Money, power, respect. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna talk about the Matrix or about the architect and everything, but
I
know we did have kind of like an offline discussion about the Matrix and what we learned from that. I know I spoke about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, let's talk about like some lessons we learned from watching that movie. I think we both got inspired by watching the movie recently.
Most definitely,
and we can talk about like how that relates to current everyday life. Different scenes from the movie, I would say.
Yeah, because movies and different things, you gotta try to look at the underlying meaning because the fantasy, of course, of that we love that and. The CGI and all of the wonderful things, him dodging the bullets and all that type of stuff.
True.
But you want to look at what's the underlying meaning of the story, and it may not be necessarily what you get out of it. May not be exactly what the writers and all that came up with and the reason they did it, but it relates to you in a different way. So you know what I'm saying? With that, one of the main things I got from it was, Neo. He was in the corporate world. He was living his day-to-day life in the Matrix, in the rat race, on the hamster wheel, doing his thing. But he was a hacker and stepping a little bit outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Out of the rules, the regulations, the way it is set up. So I think that kind of led him into getting out of the Matrix and breaking it and decoding it. But the main thing I got out of it is that at that time he was, Neo was the savior or whatever at that time. He didn't know it. And what the difference is him believing that he was. True. He could have dodged the bullets and all that when he was in the office before he got fired and all of that type of stuff, he was or whatever happened, but he didn't believe that he could. He didn't believe that he was a savior at that time, or that was able to do that. So when he believed that, that's when all of his talents or his super gifts were turned on, and he had access to them. It was access.
That's
the
true.
belief of it gave him access to it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And that can also, well, I'll let you. I was gonna go into this. This guy. I think it's Bob Proctor. He was talking about the placebo versus no placebo effect, and that's like the belief in the power of the mind and the power of belief. Because we know with the placebo, it's somebody has a sickness or whatnot, and they take a pill for it, and they are healed, and they think it's from the pill. They come to find out later that it was just a sugar pill or a water pill. So it wasn't that; it was their belief that the pill or whatever would help them. But the belief is what healed them, their mind, believing that they would get better. And the no placebo is the opposite of a person believing that they're fine, but believing that they're gonna die or a disease is going to come upon them, and that it happens. So that's the power of the mind and belief. So we need to use it in the avenue and in the way that will benefit us, and that we will improve in life and live life and flourish and thrive. You know what I'm saying? Because we can do that. It's up to us. It's how we use our mind, how we use our time, how we use this blessing, the gift of life. And you have to look at it that way. Because if you look at it in the no placebo way, the negative way, and because that's pretty much what it all boils down to, is that positive and negative is how we're gonna handle those as things come at us. Are we gonna look at it in the positive light or the negative light, or find the positive in it? Because there is positive in it,
absolutely,
just as there's negative. So
absolutely.
That's pretty much what I got from it.
Well, you made me think about the part in the movie me mentioned belief. The part where Morpheus, he was captured by the agents, right? And so for the most part, everybody was like, well, F Morpheus, like he's gone. It's a gunner, because Morpheus was caught, and then they induced Morpheus with this drug that was going to unlock his mind, so they can get the information that they needed. The agents, so the agents can get the information that they needed in order to hack into Zion. I think that was the place.
Yeah.
But everybody was about to say, like, hey, it's a wrap. Like Trinity and the other guy, like, oh, it's a wrap for Morpheus. And then Neo was like, no, I believe I can get him back.
Right.
Which was a very key point, because he was like, okay, I don't know about me believing that I'm the one, but I at least believe that I can get him back.
Yeah.
And that was like the first step. And then through that process, he ended up realizing that, oh shit, I am the one.
Yeah.
That first step of taking that belief, that's even like a somewhat of a seed within itself. I think if you can switch your mind to see it that way.
Yeah. He planted it.
He planted a seed. And like, even I like the part where, before, they went through the to get Morpheus, so they went through the ground level fighting the security guards and the police or whatever. And then they get into the elevator, and before they cut the elevator loose so they can go up to the top where the agents are, and then also have that bomb go down low to the lower basement or lower level. There's a part where he said, there is no spoon. Okay, let me explain that part. So there is no spoon part came from earlier in the movie, where there was this kid there who basically Neo went to go see the Oracle, and the Oracle, at the Oracle spot, there were multiple different possible ones, like different kids there who exhibited crazy abilities and could possibly be the savior of the world.
No, prodigies
and stuff like that, right? And so Neo goes to one kid who is bending a spoon, and then the kids tried to get Neo to bend a spoon, and the kid told Neo, like, hey, you need to realize the secret, or the realization of that there is no spoon, because the Matrix is just a simulation or whatever. And so fast forward to the part where he says there is no spoon in the elevator. He's like, at that point in his mind, like, hey, like, he fully liberated his mind from restrictions, or for the most part, most of it. And I think it's like what you need to do in current day, where we need to realize that, all right, just because people give us these guidelines, these rules, these things that we should live by, or whatever, doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean that we should go by them each and every day.
Yeah.
I think we really need to focus on more so how we feel, and really go through life more so about feeling, of course, with some type of mental analysis where you can, be constructive with it, but not like just go emotional, fully emotional. But I'm just saying in general, a lot of times we restrict ourselves by because of these limitations that were given to us by society and stuff like that. And so that's like one of the biggest things I got from the movie, with the fact that, hey man, like really, if you get down to the base of it, like there really are no rules. Like a tree is only called a tree because we all agree that it's a tree. I call a camera because we all agree a camera. $20 is worth $20 because we agree that it's $20, right? That we can exchange these things and realize that a lot of shit is just made up. Gold, like the value of gold is made up. Like, okay, basically we're valuing a thing because it's shiny. It's a shiny object. Same thing with diamonds. Like, oh, it's like a mineral of the earth, but it's because we all agree that it's fancy and it should be on the person's finger to show love, quote unquote, in this society, that is worth a lot. But this shit is all made up. And so hopefully you guys can take from that you start deprogramming yourself. Like, start to realize that, hey, just because there are rules out there, I don't necessarily have to go by them. I'm not saying like go kill people or go cause destruction in general, but I'm just saying just be mindful of that. Just because society gives you these limitations, you don't have to go by them.
Yeah, I mean, there's standards and there's necessary ones, of course, and whatnot. So person needs to go out and explore and try new things and search for, what those standards that can be stretched, or those standards that they can expand, that they can people can learn from, where you can take it to the next level, over the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, that's what life is about, experiencing it and pushing the barriers, getting outside of the box, and, not necessarily doing something, super crazy or whatever, but expanding your mind and pushing yourself, pushing the limits, because some limits need to be pushed and need to be broken, and because they were set up and are outdated. They were set up from long standing or a long time ago. So,
I would say there's one more part of the Matrix that I really like. The part where, okay, so like you said earlier, Neo was in the office and everything. He was a part of the whole Matrix thing. And then they eventually got him out, where you see the scene where he's in that pink goo and all that stuff. And they really got him out in the real world. But the thing is, that I found interesting, so you see that, all right, Neo is free, right? Kind of. He's like free. But then they go through the process of actually training Neo to be the one, and just training him to be a effective member of their group, their clique or whatever. So, you see Neo downloading information, downloading fighting techniques and stuff like that. He ends up fighting Morpheus, right? And so I thought it was an interesting part when they fought together, when Morpheus was really trying to free his mind. Even though he was free physically, he was still mentally enslaved, because he was, fighting Morpheus. He was acting like the air that he was breathing was real. He was acting like his speed, or he had like limitations, his physical limitations, and his speed was there. But the thing is, he had to realize that the shit was a simulation, that it was all made up, and thus the only thing that was limiting him was himself. And then you kind of see that after Morpheus had a breakthrough to Neo and saying that, hey, like after Morpheus whooped his ass the first time, Neo was like out of breath and like, oh, I'm too slow, whatever. And Morpheus was like, you really think that matters in this place? And you're like, huh. Then that's when Neo got his swag and start beating up Morpheus, whatever. But I say all that to say that, yeah, man, you can be like away from a place. Like you can be like, I think a good example would be like me working the 9 to 5. Like, okay, I freed myself from that job. Yeah. However, it took some time for me to actually free my mind mentally, where I started to really do away with all the BS that I learned from being on the job, whatever.
Deprogram.
Yeah, deprogram myself. Like deprogram myself from being a bad procrastinator. Deprogram myself from not doing what I say I'm going to do, whatever. All these different things that I pick up while being on a job. It took time for me to really deprogram myself and really free my mind, liberate my mind to be the person that I am nowadays, which is a more fit, more focused, more determined person who actually does what he says he's going to do.
Less stress, right?
Less stress and everything. So yeah, I found that part to be very interesting. So
most definitely,
The Matrix. Go check it out, man. It's a really good movie if you watch it. Like, well, in period, it's a really good movie. And
if you ain't seen it, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's pretty fire. So we got 2 homeworks for you guys. Go see The Matrix and also go see Quincy the documentary.
For sure.
Yeah. So anything else you want to add to the podcast?
I think we hit home pretty good. Been reading this book called Extreme Ownership. Mm-hmm. How the Navy SEALs lead and win. Mm-hmm. And that's a really good book. It talks about, pretty much taking ownership to become a good leader, you have to take ownership over all the situations or levels that are underneath you, not beneath you, but underneath you, that you are a leader over and that you are in control over, mm-hmm. and the little situations and stuff. So if something goes wrong, it's not about like pointing, say you're in the book, it goes from on the battlefield, mm-hmm. the Navy SEALs out there, and then they also incorporated in corporate America, mm-hmm. or business situations and life in general. And it's a really good book. Again, it's it's extreme ownership, how Navy SEALs lead and win, mm-hmm. and it's a really good book, man. Mm-hmm. It's, I haven't finished it, but I'm in the middle of it right now, so it's a real dope book.
It's like I'm about to say, like, everybody dies when people start pointing fingers, basically. Because it made me think about like my gig last week. How there was a couple of times where the audio went out during mm-hmm. my live stream. So if you haven't seen the last podcast, so basically I was tasked to live stream a conference for this church. And for the most part, things went well. However, there were 2 instances where the audio cut out. The first time was when I had the audio hooked up to my little mixer board, and then somebody tripped over this plug, which knocked out the power to my mixer board. And so I had to be on the fly and fix that. Yeah. The thing is, it happened again on Friday. And I took, easily I could, be a person who blame the person who kicked the line because they know the line is there. However, ultimately it's my responsibility to make sure that this stream goes flawless. And I took extreme ownership of it and said, you know what, that's my bad, because it happened before the first night and I should have adjusted it where that didn't happen again. Like, I could have used a different interface and connected the interface directly to my laptop, so it wouldn't be connected to a USB hub, which was connected to my power thing. And that's how things got bad because of that. Basically, but I realized that there was steps I could have taken to prevent that from occurring, but I didn't take those steps. And so I 100% completely own that. And the thing is, that gives you power, because it makes you realize, or you'll see that, all right, since I'm the owner of it, then I'll be the person who makes sure that this will never, ever happen again, and that you'll figure out a solution that will prevent that from ever happening again. The thing is, when you start pointing fingers, people get offended, people get like butthurt behind being fingers. My bad. It sounds crazy me saying it though, but people getting butthurt by people pointing fingers. Yeah. However, most likely nobody would ever rise up and be like, all right, I'll take ownership, because nobody wants to be the bad guy.
That's a true leader. That's the book says. That's the sign of a true leader, because you take ownership of it, and those people that are, the ones that you are not control over, but you have that are under you, that you are leading. they will see how you lead and they will follow that same, that same way of taking ownership of where they could have gotten better. And that's how a situation improves. That's how you improve. And, it really, they, expand on that, on how that happens in the battlefield and also like, in business and in life. Even with, I related it with my kids and my family and all that. It's like, with a situation with my 3-year-old or whatever, I'm like, okay, so the issue is, it's not his fault necessarily, it's me, because I'm the father, I'm the leader of the family, so I didn't explain it to him in a way where he could follow the directions that the way he should. So I need to step back and think of how can I explain it to him in a way that he gets it and can follow those directions and get better. And that right there, that makes the situation resolved, and he grows and learns from that, and so do I as a leader. That
it's true, because then you will know and understand like what needs to be said, or like you have at least a precedent that you establish of like how you can handle this situation in the future.
For sure, yeah, so for sure.
Because actually, what you're saying right now is kind of reminding me of that Kendrick Lamar line that he said in the single for the Black Panther soundtrack. He said a line, I might be misquoting him, but basically he said, I'll take the credit when we winning or losing. That's the realest shit. But it's real though. Like that's what real leaders do. That's what real leaders who are really about being effective and productive and about achieving what they want to achieve. Like
put it on me.
Yeah.
Blame
put it on me.
Yeah. I can take the heat.
Yeah.
And I can take the celebration too.
Exactly. So yeah, man, it's fire podcast, man. I can't lie to you guys, man. So this is Creative Masterminds. This has been the Creative Masterminds podcast, 10th episode, 10th EP. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm not wrapping it up right now. We gotta give out our socials, but I'm just saying thank you guys for tuning in.
Most definitely.
But Cass, go ahead, give out your social.
Yeah, on Instagram, CAS_THREE, and also the Boxing Bell. And that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's updates on boxing and the fighting world and all of that. So check it out.
Cool. You can find me at Sean Breeze on Instagram, OG Sean Breeze on Twitter, OG Sean Breeze on Facebook as well. The Creative Masterminds on Facebook and also SoundCloud.
Yep.
We're on iTunes as well. Subscribe. We're on YouTube as well. The Creative Masterminds. Subscribe, like, comment below, and all that stuff. Just thank you guys for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. We hope you guys are being motivated and inspired by what we say. Just let us know, man. We really want to help out and help the creative community to become better. And so that's our main goal and that's our main aim. And if you can let us know how we can better do that, hey, feel free to let us know, man. We really would appreciate it, for sure.
Most definitely. Yeah. Create more, destroy less.
Absolutely. This has been the Creative Masterminds Podcast, and we are out.
Peace.
That was fire.